Congressman, the president won't commit to upholding the Constitution, but also says he relies on his lawyers and that they'll obey the Supreme Court. How do you reconcile that?
You don't reconcile it. Trump has never agreed to follow the Constitution. And you just have to understand this. Look, you as an American voter can support Donald Trump, but you can't support Donald Trump and the Constitution. He forgot his oath the minute he took it. And it's the same oath, by the way, that I took as a United States Marine, that every veteran has taken an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. Imagine if you went up to an Army private and said, "Do you actually intend to uphold your oath?" And he said, "I don't know." Or you went up to a police officer on the street and said, "Hey, you just got sworn in as a police officer. Are you going to uphold the law?" And he said, "I don't know." That's what the President of the United States is telling everyone in the world today.
I mean, in your mind, I assume some will argue, well, look, he was trolling his critics, or he was just, sort of batting away the question by saying, "I don't know." You actually believe he either doesn't know or isn't interested in upholding the Constitution?
No, I don't believe that he doesn't know. I believe that he's not interested, that he's not interested in upholding the Constitution. He's not interested in upholding the law.
Do you believe the due process clause of the Fifth Amendment applies to all individuals physically inside the borders of the United States as opposed to citizens only?
That's what everyone has said, and that's what the Constitution is pretty clear about. And it could be that everyone before us was wrong, Anderson. Every president was wrong. Every member of Congress was wrong. And Donald Trump is just so brilliant that this guy who went around the country bankrupting casinos just got constitutional law better than the rest of us. Or it could be that Trump is not following the law. Based on his history, based on his criminal history, which do you think is the case?
We just did a story earlier tonight about the president's cryptocurrency ventures. Not only is he a major cryptocurrency seller and will be profiting, and his family members as well, his entire family it seems, he's also running the government that regulates it. How big a concern do you think this is? Because I feel like it hasn't gotten a lot of attention until recently.
No, it hasn't gotten a lot of attention, Anderson, because he's doing so many other bad things that are potentially even more dangerous. In this case, he's just profiting off of his position, something that under any other president would have been a huge cause for alarm. Of course, this is exactly the charge he made against Biden, even though he could never substantiate it. But the reality is that Trump and his family are profiting seriously off of this. And I think that over time we're going to see that this is a very corrupt administration, not just a lawless one. It's just that when he's actually breaking the laws and putting people's lives in danger, it's an even more urgent concern, and that's why that's the focus right now.
I want to ask you about the Turkish student at Tufts University taken into custody by masked plainclothes officers on the street in your home state of Massachusetts going back in March. She's still being detained. It's believed to stem from an op-ed she co-wrote in a student newspaper urging the school to divest from entities with ties to Israel. Now, an appeals court panel, they're scheduled to hear arguments about her status tomorrow. Do you know anything more about her fate?
No, and we've been asking a lot of questions, the delegation in Massachusetts. So many people who are concerned about her and concerned about everyone else who might write an op-ed someday disagreeing with the Trump administration and could find themselves whisked off the street. If you look at this video, Anderson, it doesn't look like something that could happen in America. It looks like a video from China or North Korea or Iran. But that's the streets of America. And that's the country that Donald Trump is trying to make for all of us.
And just lastly, the Wall Street Journal, they're reporting tonight that the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, in their words, used Signal more extensively for official Pentagon business than previously disclosed. The journal went on to say that engaging in at least a dozen separate chats, people familiar with his management practices said in one case he told aides on the encrypted app to inform foreign governments about an unfolding military operation, the people said. Now, again, that's according to the journal. CNN hasn't independently corroborated it. Do you have any reason to think this will make any change in his job security?
It doesn't seem to. It seems that Trump wants to keep Hegseth around. If Trump is breaking the law, he likes to surround himself with other lawbreakers. And Pete Hegseth is clearly breaking the law. He has no accountability for his own behavior. He said he was going to bring accountability back to the Department of Defense. Well, apparently that doesn't apply to him. And as a result, we have a Secretary of Defense who is himself a risk to our national security.
Congressman Seth Moulton, thanks for your time.
Good to see you, Anderson.